Ladies and gentlemen, American German Bulldog Nation, welcome to the Eric Deters Show. As always, we're sponsored by Deters Consulting, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. Well, let's get right to it. Got lots to cover. Ron DeSantis has come out and said that he will support President Trump if President Trump wins the nomination for the Republican Party. In my opinion, DeSantis is looking for a slow way out of this nightmare he's in. DeSantis is realizing he's made a mistake. The best move that he can make is make up with Trump, and I think it's beginning. All right, Musk says that he's going to rebrand, effectively now, Twitter to X. X. He loves it. He loves the word X, SpaceX. Remember, I like the word X. I did a post about this. I used to always take my top exhibit in the trial and make it X. It's got some drama to it if it's X. Exhibit X. Company X. It's going to be Company X. Twitter X. All right. Chicago bloodbath. Can't make this up, folks. You ready for this? Mayor Johnson, Brandon Johnson, 30 people were shot Friday through mid-afternoon Sunday. It just goes on and on and on. Barbie and Oppenheimer. It's pop culture. We got to cover it because it's hot. These are the two most highly anticipated films. Globally, Barbie did about $3 million. Oppenheimer did about $150 million. Both huge successes. I saw Oppenheimer. Great movie. And I did a review about it. Great movie. I heard Barbie's a little woke. Curiosity killed the cat. I'm probably going to go see Barbie out of curiosity. All right. Jeff Zucker. You ever see this guy up close? You know, this just proves that fat, ugly, powerful men can get an attractive woman. Sabrina, what do you think of Jeff Zucker?
He's not bad looking.
Oh, my God.
He's not even fat looking.
Oh, my God. This just ruined the show. That's not the answer I was looking for, nor do you. All right, Miss Italy. Miss Italy defends the decision to ban trans. You got to be born a woman. Wow, real controversial. Good for you, Italy. Think about all the beautiful women in Italy. We don't need a man transgender to be Miss Italy. A massive fireball meteor lit up the skies in Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida. Some thought it was Armageddon. That's how bright it was. Pretty cool. I wish I could have seen it. Creepy Horman, however you say his freaking name, the Gilgo Beach killer, has a soundproof room in his basement. Sicko, sicko. Law professors want Biden to ignore the Supreme Court decisions. See, lawlessness is okay with them. It's just not okay when MAGA stands up to something unbelievable. Ron DeSantis is polling third in South Carolina behind Nikki Haley, and Rick Scott is right on his heels. Not a good look at all. Comer says he's got even more bank records. You know what? This, just imagine, if you would, Jordan, Comer, and the Republicans not having control of these committees. Nothing would ever have come out. And that's sick. That's sick. It's sick in my opinion. Trump is going to hold a rally in Erie, Pennsylvania. Erie Insurance Arena at 809 Front Street, July 29th at 6 p.m. That, of course, will be crowded. Lines open at 8 a.m., doors open at 1. Special speaker remarks at 4. You can get general admission tickets. All right. The first transgender state rep elected has been charged with pornography, child pornography, aiding and abetting the sexual exploitation of children. Wow. Taking images of nude 3 to 5-year-olds. So a man pretending to be Stacey Maureen Lawton did that sick crap. Comer doesn't want a special prosecutor. Of course you don't want a special, but he's smart. A special prosecutor gets appointed by Merrick Garland. Special prosecutor means nothing. You hear me talk about how lawyers are scumbags, big law firms especially. They billed this conservatorship $30 million. what they did to Britney Spears. By the way, Britney Spears is a whack job. Now we know she probably belongs in a conservatorship. We were wrong, weren't we? But you know what? These lawyers taking advantage of her makes me sick. All right, good old Joe Biden is walking around in slippers because he falls down too much. Now he's got slippers on. You're president. Russia's big thug, the head of the Wagner Group, announced they're done in Ukraine. Get ready for Africa. What? So what's Putin and the Wagner gang going to do in Africa? Probably just invade and take over all of Africa. That's their next move, probably. This is a sad story and a funny story and a cool story all in one. Dolph Lundgren, Rocky's nemesis, the Russian. He's 65. Has been given 2 to 3 years live from cancer. Married Emma Crockdahl, 27. Hey, you might as well go out with a bang. Sabrina, would you marry Dolph Lundgren knowing he was going to die in 2 or 3 years?
No.
Why not? You're probably going to get all his money. If you weren't married to Wes, would you do it?
No.
Oh, my goodness. Woman of virtue. All right, Iowa poll shows Scott's gaining on DeSantis. Trump still has a commanding lead. Trump has a commanding lead in Michigan. Can't make this up. 9 Republicans voted to save Pete Buttigieg from mandated jet log disclosures. Why? Why? Donald Trump Jr. was on hand in New York Stock Exchange along with his lovely bride-to-be, Kim Guilfoyle. And you know what? They chanted USA, USA on the New York Stock Exchange floor. Shocking. This was for the public IPO launch of Public Square. Comer said that he has suspicion Biden's been selling access to our enemies for decades. No question. Based on what he's been doing, there's no question. And you know what Joe Biden realized? He was just thinking he'd go under the radar. Go under the radar. Joe Biden deserves to spend the last days of his dementia in prison. Hunter Biden's lawyer, Kevin Morris, was caught being photographed at his L.A. home on a balcony doing a bong. And guess who apparently was there? Hunter. Unbelievable. Biden's investigation, former Burisma board member Devon has canceled his deposition with Comer's committee 3 times, but it is going to happen. And you know what he's going to say? We'll get to that in a second. All right, good news for Trump. Jurors down in the May 24 trial in Florida are going to come from counties that overwhelmingly voted for him. Yeehaw! Some more things bad about the DeSantis campaign. Some polls show Ramaswamy tied with DeSantis head-to-head. That's wild. I can't stand this kid. Schlossberg, John Schlossberg, JFK Kennedy's grandson via Caroline. Did you see his rant about restaurants and all that stuff? Now he comes out and trashes his his cousin Bobby really harshly. I mean, you can listen to this guy, look at this guy, entitled elite ass. I stand with Bobby. Go away, Jack Schlossberg. All right, Hunter Biden put then Vice President Joe Biden on the phone with business associates at least 24 times, ex-partner Devon says. That's the guy they're going to get the testimony from. Wow. It's been postponed 3 times. Well, how explosive. Remember what Joe said? I've never spoken to Hunter Biden. Folks, Joe Biden is a complete diabolical, psychotic liar. It's like Bill Clinton can say, I didn't have sex with that woman. Square in the camera. Under oath. Well, guess what? Joe Biden can do the same thing. It's unbelievable. This is the Bulldog. Every dog has their day. Coming up next, Eric Deters and Local News. Ladies and gentlemen, the American Jury and Bulldog Nation, welcome to Eric Deters Local News, sponsored by Deters Consulting, Parks Yoga. Check us out on all of our platforms. And before I get into all of the story items, we'll go ahead and kind of make this our lead story. You can't make this up. This is Friday's newspaper, which is the day following the explosive testimony that came from the two IRS investigators, from Bobby Kennedy and all of that. This is the Kentucky Enquirer, which is the same as the Cincinnati Enquirer. They always cover the same stories. They throw in maybe a Kentucky story. They call it the Kentucky Enquirer. It's part of USA Today Gannett. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing in news. Those two stories, the IRS investigators and Bobby Kennedy, were both absent from this newspaper. Both. Now you say, well, what about national news stories? Well, they covered Aldine, scorching heat and flood sock, Trump facing mounting legal woes, Fargo, senators debate high court ethics bill, U.S. no reply from North Korea on soldier, gunman kills 2 in New Zealand. So they covered all those stories. Not the biggest political story in America. Sick. Ronald Simpson was sentenced for 30 years in the killing of Randall Helton. Seems to be all over a woman in Kenton County. Hope it was worth it, Ronald. Greg Johnson and Sarah Hewitt Johnson are being charged for basically having kids under absolutely disgusting and deplorable conditions. And you know what? It seems to me they ought to be charged. Jacob Bumpass, Bumpus, you mentioned that name. Jury's deliberating the second day. They deliberate all day Friday, no verdict. Back to today. My guess is we'll get a verdict today. It'll be interesting. Remember, they're charging him with mutilating of the corpse, so forth and so on, trying to get him on something. In local news, Damar Hamlin hosted a CPR training at UC Medical Center. Good for Damar. You know, Damar has just got an incredible, great spirit. And he's almost like an angel now, that he died and they brought him back to life. Not once, but twice. It cracks me up how so many people act like I was like rooting for Damar to die or something. No, I wasn't. I reported it accurately. Even Damar said he died. But thank God they brought him back to life. All right. Cincinnati Black Music Walk Hall of Fame. They launched it this week, James Brown and others. Congratulations to them. By the way, just remember, I'm covering a big news story. The Cincinnati Black Music Hall of Fame. Why? Because it's news. Do you think they cover? No. We know 5912 Enquirer will not cover stories that are relevant in the news. David Chappelle crashed the music festival because he's an Ohio boy. A long list of safe Kentucky towns. West Liberty was considered the safest. Who else made the top 10? Taylor Mill, Fort Thomas, Edgewood. And Independence was way up there too, my hometown. Boone County is going to dispose of old special education records. A lot of personal medical stuff makes sense to me. Crescent Springs and Villa Hills are going to have a recycle tough items day, like the washer and dryer. Stick it out in your front yard. Sad story, a 39-year-old Cincinnati man died while jumping in the Lake Powell out west doing a cliff dive. Folks, I jumped off a cliff one time in Lake Cumberland back in the days when all the boys would go down there and have a good time. I did it once, would never want to do it again. The LED light says Cincinnati at the Cincinnati Convention Center might be lost in the $200 million reconstruction of the convention center. Again, where does the $200 million go? I mean, somebody is just making buku bucks. In Kentucky news, Bashir visited the flood-ravaged Maysville area. It's funny, one of my friends told me that nobody had done it, then he showed up later that day. Kentucky ranks third from the bottom in senior health care. Isn't that wonderful? Rand Paul's Bowling Green office building, a Senate office building, caught on fire. No report on all the damage. Everybody is thinking it's a direct result of what he said about Fauci being investigated. This will make you get revved up. Nurses have gone through hell. The Kentucky Board of Nursing is now making nurses go through some implicit bias training. Hey, let's increase our nursing shortage even more. I guarantee you, there's some nurses that are going to say, screw you, I'm out. And you know what? I had a buddy, just so you know, I had a buddy named Danny Cook growing up. And it was pronounced Cook, K-O-C-H. So I always want to call it the Cook brothers, but I think it might be the Koch brothers. So I'm sorry I mispronounced. They are using some of their money to fight to get rid of Certificate of Need. I'm for getting rid of Certificate of Need, but I don't really like their money. You know what I mean? Kentucky's Burt T. Combs Mountain Parkway, which I traveled a lot in the last year, is considered one of the most dangerous roads in the country. Folks, I could tell on myself and tell you a wild story that happened to me, but I won't yet. I've got to put some more time and distance between it. Eastern Kentucky Federal Prison controversy. Hal Rogers is trying to get it done. People are balking at it, concerned about some of the money. Now, this is wild. The same polling company released 2 polls on the Cameron and Beshear race. One, Cameron's losing by 4. One, Cameron's losing by 10. Regardless, he started out only down by 2. I think I'm going to do a Facebook Live and give you my 2 cents worth about the Cameron campaign and what I think he hasn't done, what he needs to do, what he's probably planning. And I'm telling you, he could blow it. Mike Harmon, my good buddy from the governor's campaign trail, who is the Kentucky State Auditor, is launching an audit on disaster relief funds. Andy Beshear says it's political. Mike Harmon says he's just doing his job. By the way, if I was elected governor, Mike Harmon would be my Secretary of Finance. The guy knows the state money. In Ohio news, an Ohio marijuana company is being sued by a Florida partner by $23 million. Folks, just watch the disintegration of the Ohio pot industry. It was overdone. Too many, it's a disaster. A lot of people lost their ass. A lot of smart, rich people lost their ass. In sports, we got to say this. Joe Burrow's number 2 quarterback in Madden. Congratulations, Joe Burrow. Coming up next, Jamie Spinley in his World News. Let's see if he's got anything good, like maybe Messi scoring the winning goal in his first outing at Miami.
Hello, this is Jamie Spinley with the World News. Thousands of people have been evacuated from homes and hotels on the island of Rhodes. Private boats have joined the Greek Coast Guard in helping to pick up people from beaches on the east of the island. Wildfires are spreading across the island due to extreme temperatures. A man has been arrested in Mexico on suspicion of setting fire to a bar after he was taken out, killing 11 people. The attack happened over the weekend in San Luis Rio, Colorado, which borders the United States. Police have used water cannons and arrested protesters outside Israel's parliament ahead of a key vote on reforms which has caused an uproar. About 150 major firms and banks are striking today in protest. 11 people have died after a roof of a school gymnasium in northeast China collapsed whilst it was being used by a girls' volleyball team. Police have detained the bosses at a local construction company. They have been accused of dumping materials on the roof, causing the roof to collapse. Until tomorrow, have a fantastic day. Cheerio.
From Independence, Kentucky, it's Sports Without Boundaries with Eric Deters and his sidekick Nick Batista.
Ladies and gentlemen, American German Bulldog Nation, welcome to our weekly Sunday evening sports show. Eric Deters, you're truly with my co-host and sidekick, Nick Batista. How you doing, Nick?
Great, Bulldog.
Well, Nick, I got a couple announcements before we get diving into our topics. First off, we got a slow week here. We're only at 26 instead of 56. But if you've noticed, the shirt that I'm wearing is the same shirt I wore yesterday when I did my Facebook Lives, etc.
Oh.
I am still wearing the same T-shirt I wore yesterday. I wore it yesterday, I slept in it, and I'm wearing it today, and I don't give a damn, Nick.
All right. You smell okay. Looks like it's inside out.
Ain't that the way you used? I know it looks inside, but that's the style of the shirt.
Right.
But it looks like it's inside. People tell me, I've had these smart alecks on Facebook like, your shirt's inside out. I said, no, it's not. Jeez, oh, freak. In fact, one person said, how can we trust what you say because your shirt's inside out?
That's huge.
All right, let's get with it. First off, the Reds won again today. 6 games in a row. They're back at lost 6, come back with 6.
Right.
Against some good teams.
Man.
San Francisco, Arizona.
Arizona was number 1 in their division.
They called up Christian and Carcion Strand. His name is so long, Nick, they just lopped the strand off. They didn't put it underneath it. They just said, you, for now on, forget about Strand.
Longest name in the MLB.
Is it? It must be, because they couldn't put the whole damn thing on. And he's playing really, really well, including his first hit, a pitch hit home run.
Oh, my God. Everybody they call up is a freaking superstar.
Now, I don't know when they started keeping track of all this stuff, but LA Deters, I think they said StatCast history, as long as we've had StatCast.
2015.
2015.
Yeah.
Well, since 2015, LA Deters threw a ball this week, 99.8 miles per hour to home to cut down a runner, the fastest ball thrown in the infield.
He's going to take somebody's head off.
They threw it 6 feet off the plate, too.
Well, here's the good thing. He threw it so fast that the catcher had time to catch it and take the guy out.
Yeah.
There was no bang, bang blade when you go 99.8. The catcher just goes, okay, I just got to catch this ball.
Put him on
and
the
put him on
mound.
the tag. I was going to say, let him pitch.
Yeah.
He's got to be their emergency pitcher.
They need pitching.
All right, Reds, yesterday, back Friel, McLean, Fraley, back-to-back-to-back home runs.
I saw it. I was there watching it.
You were at the game?
No, sorry.
Oh, you were on television?
TV, yeah.
On TV?
I called the third one. I was at a
You called
family
the third one?
gathering, and we saw the first 2, and I said back-to-back-to-back, and boom.
What do you think about your Cleveland Guardians? How are they doing? They're in second.
We took 2 out of 3 from the Phillies over the weekend, but the damn Twins never lose, so we're still 2 games back.
The Brewers lost again today, so the Reds
did they?
are very fortunate. They're going to the Brewers. Milwaukee only half game out.
Half game, okay.
But they go. I hope they sweep them. All right, Scott Rolan made the Hall of Fame, along with Fred McGriff. Now, let me just tell you something about this. And I'm just shooting straight with you, okay? When I hear name Scott Rolan, I think really good ball player.
Right.
I do not think Hall of Fame. Now, listen to this. I say the same thing about Fred McGriff. They're the 2 guys that made it.
Right.
But the one thing that stands out with me about Fred McGriff is he had only a few, 7 away from 500 home runs.
Right.
That makes a huge difference to me.
Exactly. And he waited a little.
In other words, I think Fred McGriff maybe did have a Hall of Fame career. But let's face it. I mean, and by the way, I'm not even saying it's fair, okay? But when we say King Griffey Jr., Hall of Fame. When you say Joe Morgan, Hall of Fame. Right. Rod Carew, Hall of Fame. You don't say Hall of Fame when you hear. By the way, I think Votto's in the same category.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question.
Go ahead.
These Hall of Fames, I mean, they got to get guys there for the money. I mean, that weekend is huge for Cooperstown and for MLB. Roland, I didn't think was a Hall of Famer, but his stats, man, 17 years, 15 All-Star games, 8 Gold Gloves.
Yeah, but his offense wasn't that good. If you're going to count the defense, how come Davey Concepcion isn't in the Hall of Fame?
True.
Right, Josh Wentz?
Yeah, and I agree with you. You got to say the name, Hall of Fame or no.
He doesn't scare it out.
Matt McLean, it's unbelievable, the other night, hit his first career grand slam. This guy right now, of all the rookies, has and this was before this weekend, most bases by any of the rookies. Cruz is 4th. They got 2 of the top 4 rookies.
That's unbelievable, man.
I mean, it's weird. I've been telling my cousin Josh now, it's impossible to not dream, okay? The Big Red Machine, those grade 8, special players. However, this team, if lightning were to strike again, we know you got to do it long time.
Right.
You got to do it for a long time, and you got to be consistent. But let's face it, these guys seem like they like to play baseball. Right. They get excited about playing baseball. They hustle. They got speed. They play defense.
Yeah.
It's got that feel of magic to me.
It does. And
I hope they don't trade any of them.
2 of those guys they got in a trade remember Tyler Malley?
Right, yeah.
They got 2 of those guys. Who'd they get?
Malley.
I can't remember.
Fraley and the other guy, Friel.
How about Malley? Malley's never been a hitter. Malley's even hitting the ball now.
Unbelievable.
Can you imagine? By the way, I know his dad. I don't know him well, but I know who he is. My cousin Josh knows him well. How big of a thrill is it for the Malley family that Tyler is playing catcher in Cincinnati because they're from Northern Kentucky.
Oh, right.
Cub Cath the whole bit.
Right.
I mean, it's like got to be wild.
Hometown, man.
You know,
It's great.
Jeez, old Pete. And then their number 2 pick, they signed Ty Floyd. By the way, even the Reds pitching has gotten good.
It's gotten better.
By the way, this is hysterical. Weaver pitched today, right? He got hammered in the 4th, so they took him out. He's got nearly a 8 ERA. Do you know that they have won 9 games with him pitching?
Well, his starts. They've won 9. It's amazing.
He's the one that pitched the great Friday night game I went to where De La Cruz hit for the cycle.
Yeah.
He gave them 5 runs in the first inning. It's like, just go out there and pitch, we'll win. Maybe he's their 3rd pitcher in the playoffs. Just go out there and give up some home runs and we'll win.
They got good middle relief.
All right, UK basketball playing in Canada. Well, before our last show, they finally won. They won the gold in Canada. You know where they stayed? They hung out in Drake, the singer, $100 million house.
Oh, I didn't know
Swam in the pool the whole bit. That's where they
I
stayed.
did not know that. Was Calipari with them?
Yeah, Calipari was with them. I wonder if there was any extracurriculars going on that night. They are adults.
What's the NCAA think about that?
Well, it was in Canada. It doesn't count. I had to put this in there because remember, we're sports without boundaries.
Right.
There is a Carnival cruise, apparently nude. You know what I say when I hear it? And I speak for every man. I speak for Josh. I speak for Nick. I speak for every man. As soon as I hear that, the first thing I think is a whole bunch of ugly naked people.
Old shrivelly guys and women.
Because if you've ever seen like those news programs when they say they're going to bust a new colony or whatever, and I've watched some HBO specials where they have these things, they're all ugly. Nudists are ugly.
We got one in Cincinnati. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Out there.
Yeah. A bunch of pervs are going to take that thinking they're going to see hot chicks. Nope.
No.
And every man, am I not right, guys?
Yeah.
You know I'm right. This is funny. We reported last week about Wimbledon and Djokovic lost. This just cracked me up. A record fine for Basham. It was like 3,000
I thought it
pounds.
was gonna. I know.
I mean, I'm like, really? Record fine,
100 grand?
3,000 pounds? I'm sure Djokovic emptied out his coin box for that one. Dale Earnhardt was on the way to a Budweiser. Remember, he was posted by Bud. Yeah. And this is funny. Junior says that his dad was taken into a meeting with some Budweiser executives. And he said, Dad, he was young. He says, do I have to drink a Budweiser?
Do I have to drink the beer?
And Senior looked at him. He says, you damn right you do.
He said, I didn't like beer at the time. But
he did. He did like, isn't that a great story?
Oh,
you can hear the enforcer. Can you imagine the enforcer as your mentor?
Probably drank while they drove.
Oh, my
man,
God.
those were the days, fellas.
Those were the real men.
That's right.
Have a proper country.
That's right, man.
Racing.
Kentucky Derby winner died. What was the name of the horse, Josh? I forget.
Yeah.
Funny Side.
23 years old.
Sad. By the way, Mage, on some horse news, we'll just throw it in here. Mage finished second in his first race after the Triple Crown races. Finished second, lost. I forget what race it was, but lost. All right, Aroldis Chapman has thrown the fastest baseball pitch in Texas Ranger history.
Right.
104. Do you believe Chapman's arm is still holding up and still throwing 104? It made me think and made me hope that De La Cruz, by the way, I'm going to be called a racist. De La Cruz can keep it up too. And my theory is, do these guys that are coming from the Caribbean, Cuba and Jamaica, and all these places they come from, maybe they're just genetically got rubber arms.
Well, yeah, remember Satchel Paige?
Right, Satchel Paige. They brought up Satchel Paige.
But he said he never worked out. He didn't have bulky muscles. He had long tendons and ligaments. And that's what Chapman's got. That's what De La Cruz has.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So, let's face it. This just doesn't happen.
No.
I mean,
genetics.
I think it's genetics. All right. We're getting a protest now.
Good.
Me too. Erica Herman, Tiger Woods' former girlfriend, has dropped her lawsuit because she thought she was going to lose. Now, I have to admit, I feel a little bit sorry for her, and let me explain why. Okay. Now, I'm Team Tiger. but I don't feel so for a reason. Can you imagine one day your Tiger's girlfriend traveling the world, seeing everybody, everything, and the next day you're not Tiger's girlfriend and you don't get to be in the house?
He paid her off.
Do you think that she's contacting Tiger's friends that are also rich that may not be loyal to Tiger?
Possibly, probably.
I think if she's devious, she is.
Sure.
She's going to start hitting on Tiger's friends.
Tiger's enemies.
All right, this is for you, buddy. What do you think of the Browns' new helmets?
Is that what you see? It says brown helmet here.
The Browns.
It's the Browns.
The Browns, when they first came into the league in 1946, they wore all white, including the helmet.
Really?
Yes, they did.
I just want to say this about the helmets. It's better looking than a damn brown helmet.
No, they wear orange helmets. They don't wear brown helmets.
Just think if the whole freaking AFC Central were colors. We're the Reds. We're the Blues. We're the Greens.
They'll probably get to that.
How the hell the Browns? And I know it's a
Defend
Paul
everybody.
Brown, but it's a big deal. All right, I can drive 55. Jordan Addison, a Minnesota Viking, was clocked going about 104.
40. 104.
I thought Henry Ruggs was the one going 140.
They're both smart.
They're both going 140.
Yeah.
They're both going 140 miles per hour.
Yeah, he didn't learn from Henry.
How the hell are you doing this?
Well, Ferrari, Lamborghini.
Jeez, oh Pete.
I'm sure it was smooth.
My God. All right, the Commander's Soul deal closed. Magic Johnson is part of the ownership. He thinks it's wonderful. And there's a rumor that they might change their name for a fresh start.
They should. Absolutely.
You know what they should do? They should go and they ought to have a little short meeting of the board of directors and their COO and all that in the matter of 1 minute, take a vote and say, yes, we're going to be the Washington Redskins again.
Forever. Magic cried.
Washington Redskins. He's a crier.
He is, boy.
By the way, I want to tell you something. All right, we talk about living. Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Magic Johnson's on the Mount Everest of not Mount Everest, but Mount Rushmore. of
Rushmore
great people.
basketball. Yeah.
How lucky of a guy his life as Magic lived. Magic, young, goes to the Lakers, championship, first freaking year, all that stuff. And then he gets AIDS, HIV.
Yeah.
We all were like numb. We're like,
Right.
Magic's gonna die.
Died.
Magic doesn't die.
No.
Magic becomes a billionaire.
He gets cured.
And he even keeps cookie. He kept the cookie.
And he cheated on Cookie, and they're still married.
They even showed him cheating on her in the show, Lakers show. That's a great show. Have you seen Lakers?
no.
What's it called? It's on HBO. The second season's coming out. It's great. The guy that plays Pat Riley doesn't even really look like Pat Riley, but the guy nails Larry Bird. He looks like Larry Bird, acts like Larry Bird. In fact, the guy said, he goes, Larry Bird's going to love season 2. All right. Marlins coach got hit with a foul ball and broke his leg.
I didn't see it.
Oh, it was a wham and broke his leg. I've never heard of a coach losing his leg. Well, not losing his leg, getting it broke. Have you?
Tommy Lasorda fell over in an All-Star game one time from a foul ball went over his head.
Wasn't that wild?
Backwards.
Tommy Lasorda, he got to coach the Dodgers, of course. But I remember because I was a little boy. Alston was their coach in the 70s, and Tommy Lasorda was the third base coach. And he stuck with him. He became the manager, of course. All right, Ring of Honor. Boomer Esiason and Chad Johnson. I say yes to Boomer. You know what?
I think
Chad was just a big distraction.
Oh my God, was he? But I see Boomer Esiason is getting completely disrespected here, and I never liked him as a player, but I watch him every day. He's got a show out in New York, and he's great. I love him. He should have had his own day, man. Chad Johnson.
Yeah, I agree. It's not the same. You know what? You know what? You know what's great about the current Bengals team is we don't have a Chad Johnson. We don't have a Pac-Man Jones. We don't have a Perfect. But I just, remember the Hall of Fame? Yeah, you made the Hall of Fame, okay? The Bengals Ring of Honor. He ain't going to make the Pro Hall of Fame. Do you know that he went to, it's kind of sad, he went to New England, he couldn't understand the plays.
Right. I mean, Dave Lapham should be. Is Dave Lapham in that?
No, but he ought to be.
Chad Johnson.
All right, you ready for this? Joe Burrow's number 2 on Madden. I'd like to know why he's not number 1.
Oh, come on.
I'm teasing. I understand why Mahomes is. Hell, Even Joe Burrow says he's the best quarterback.
Right. I mean,
Much to the chagrin of Chase.
he got graded as a 95.
Tua, number 10.
Hey, read that list. I didn't pay attention who were the rest of them.
Lamar
Who are they,
number 4?
Josh?
Lamar number 4. Come on.
Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson,
Boo.
Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, Tua Tagovailoa.
Okay, how come?
How can Kirk Cousins be in the top 10?
Because he's a stat machine. That's why. And he builds them stat. This
Why is Dak
now.
there? And I'm a Cowboys fan. All right, Cincinnati beard guy wants to shave and start over.
I never heard of this guy before I saw this story.
They got busted for weed or something.
Nice.
That's an ugly ass beard, man.
It's terrible.
He probably had the weed. There's probably a bong.
Yeah.
There's probably a bong on one side, and his weed is stored in the other. Don't you think?
Looks like it.
All right. You know, the first reaction when you get hit by a pitch, if you're a batter, is to beat the hell out of the pitcher, right? In Japan, this guy got hit by the pitcher, and he went out and hugged him.
No.
Yes.
I did not see this.
Hugged him.
Do we have the video?
Isn't that disgraceful?
Yes.
I mean, come on. You're supposed to look at him. All right. Next topic is, again, remember, we're sports without boundaries.
Oh, okay.
You know, there's been a lot of shark sightings around. There are more and more shark sightings on beaches and everything else. There is a theory that our sharks are getting cocained up by the cocaine bundles dropped in the Gulf and the ocean during the great cocaine migrations in the 80s.
Right.
Is that hysterical? We had cocaine bear, which is a true story.
Which is a true
We're going to now have cocaine shark.
Why not this? Sure.
Are sharks not bad enough? Why do they need to be on cocaine?
Holy shit.
Exactly. A shark on cocaine? Goodness gracious. All right, two things. Bryce Harper makes the news, our news twice. First off, he had this weird at bat. They said he was sick, but he goes to the bat, and he stood there.
This is against
like
the
this.
Indians.
He stood there. 1, 2. He took it to a full count, struck out looking. Yeah. I mean, the bat never left it. He didn't even. It was hysterical.
His manager must have disrespected him or something.
Maybe it was a dare. I'm going to go up and just see if I can get. It was crazy. Then he made a fantastic catch going in the dugout while he's playing first base.
Yeah, I saw it.
Wild.
His first game as a first baseman.
Correct. All right, Deion Sanders did not make the Pac-12 day because of his situation. He apparently needs two more surgeries because of You know what? This stuff gets scary.
Yeah.
Because they were clots. They were clots and everything else. And you all know the clot goes to the old lungs. Boom. I mean, so isn't this wild, as famous and great and rich and good as Deion is? And then you think of the irony because he was so fast. Then he might lose his foot.
Right. Well, he's already lost, 2 or 3 toes. Right?
Yeah. It just tells you, baby. Life comes for all of us.
Yeah. Well, we signed that wide receiver from Tampa Bay, Goodwin. He's got blood clots now, so he's
oh my God.
Totally normal.
All right, 76ers Joel Embiid married a Sports Illustrated model. I don't even know her name, but I wanted to do a story about this. Look at the size difference.
If that guy was a bricklayer from Shabokin, you think she would?
No.
Look at that guy.
No. Well, I always talk about Bruce Springsteen wouldn't be able to get a date if he wasn't Bruce Springsteen, but he's Bruce Springsteen.
Looks like a Yeti.
Look how smooth. Look the size difference.
Her name's Ann DePaula.
Oh, I didn't know she was a model, huh?
Oh, she's pretty.
Oh, yeah.
At least he picked well, pretty wise. All right, how about this? Oliver, you don't pronounce the X, right? Oliver Rowe, 6'10", 12-year-old.
Oh, right. Yeah, how about this?
I wonder if he's a fan of Victor Wembanyama.
These guys die young.
Years old, 7'6" at 17.
Yeah.
I know, isn't that nuts?
Is he going to be 8 foot?
He looked down on Kyler Murray. He had a picture with Kyler Murray on. How you doing, Kyler? All right, last but not least, Brian Harman won the British Open, his first major. Is McIlroy ever going to win again? They've asked him that. I'm going to keep plugging.
Yeah.
They thought McIlroy was going to be Tiger Woods.
Yeah, they did, and he's
all right,
top 10.
But tell the American people, tell Bulldog Nation, what is so special about this man kissing that trophy?
He's a great
Brian Harman.
It's a great tournament. He's a Bulldog from Georgia. And they kept saying, he goes, I'm a bulldog, I'm a bulldog. He's a farmer, too. Just bought a new Kubota tractor. He's going to go back and mow his 40 acres on the Kubota.
Why didn't he buy a John Deere?
With the claret jug, exactly.
Damn Kubota. He should have bought a John Deere.
You'd love this guy, man. He's going to drink beer out of the claret jug tonight.
You know the British, their mascot's the bulldog. So here's the Georgia Bulldog winning the British Open is a pretty darn good story.
15 out of the last 20 years, Americans win the British Open.
You gotta like that.
About that. Go, America.
Well, we might have only had 26 topics, but we did it well. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to sports today?
No. What I think of right now.
I want everybody to know that before I go to bed tonight, I'm going to take a shower and change my T-shirt.
Thank God.
On behalf of Josh, our producer, Nick, my sidekick, and yours truly, thank you for tuning in. Spread the word. Best damn sports show in America.
Thank you.
See you next week.